Just a quick summary of education across the workforce, and I go back to the Australian Qualifications Framework that Robin's introduced to you before, and just point out that there is an increasing trend in the workforce towards tertiary education. Dentists have always been educated in the university sector. Hygienists and therapists have traditionally been trained or prepared in either hospitals or VET programs, but the Bachelor of Oral Health program that was initiated here in South Australia early in this decade is now expanding and is preparing people who have got a background in both therapy and hygiene for prosthetists. There's some move towards looking at a tertiary qualification for those people, but primarily at the moment across the country, the greater majority of the workforce is trained at an advanced diploma level, or in the case of dental assistants and some of our workforce, Certificate 2, Certificate 3 in the VET sector. One of the points, I guess, is that career promotion or career progression within the workforce is fairly fragmented. There is limited recognition of prior learning and not a natural progression from somebody who might enter as a dental assistant to progress to a role as a therapist or as a hygienist and possibly then through to becoming a dentist. The way that workforce, that sector set up at the moment, that's not an easy progression. Two areas that we have identified in this program, two areas of the workforce that are of interest, is the scope for improved use of dental hygienists in terms of some of the work that's possibly coming out of here, and also to look at the significant turnover in the dental assistant workforce. That tends to be a younger workforce. They're not always VET trained, and there is a high turnover, partially because I think at the age that they enter that workforce, they haven't really thought about a career, so they try it for a few years, they might move on to other areas. But a comment that I made in one of the consultations that I was involved in was, if we're looking at the introduction of the oral health care training in residential aged care that the Commonwealth has sponsored at the moment, if I was working in residential aged care and I was thinking about how I might introduce that, quite an attractive option for me might be to recruit somebody who has a background as a dental assistant and then skill them up in the area of aged care. So I've got somebody who's got quite a good background and insights into what some of the oral health care problems are that would help to implement that package. So there are opportunities for that workforce, for example, if they don't want to stay in the sector, to still contribute and bring some of the knowledge and experience they would have. The oral health care plan that again has already been introduced. It aims to improve the health and well-being of Australians by improving their oral health care status. The four broad themes there you will see feed quite nicely into the objective for this project, which is to determine the nature and scope of engagement of an alternative workforce with the oral health imperative. The consultation phase that has been an important part of the start of this project, and Robin has already showed you the pathway that we've just begun on, has been one where I started off with a review, a focused scan of the key literature, some engagement with the industry reference group on one-to-one consultation basis, and then at the two forums that we've had so far, there's been successive drafts of a scoping report or discussion papers, and then formatively a draft discussion paper. Then more recently, external consultation with other key stakeholder groups and individuals who've indicated an interest, or with people who I've consulted with who suggested that I should speak to other people, and culminating in this forum where you have in that discussion paper that's in your packs a summary of the discussion paper or the scoping report that's been prepared to date. I think the opportunities that we've got that have emerged from the project to date are these 7 functions. They're identified in the paper, and they're going to form the basis of the workshop this afternoon. And I won't go through them all now, but they are the ones, if you're going to run your pen around anything in that document, it's to pick up these 7 points. These are the areas where there are seen to be real opportunities for engagement with the supplementary workforce and in terms of development of the competencies. And that's been distilled out from the consultation process so far. 3 challenges, I think, emerge out of this project to date. The first one is the challenge to improve overall oral health literacy in the workforce. In the workforce, but more generally in the community, to make sure that a greater proportion of Australian society accepts responsibility and understands the need for good oral health care, what that can contribute to their own sense of well-being as part of their overall health. The second is the issue of workforce capacity. If the workforce is going to be able to contribute to that improvement in oral health care, then there's the challenge for the community services and health workforce to pick up or to reinforce what they already know in terms of providing a conduit for people who need care through to the oral health care workforce and practitioners who can provide that care. And the second challenge is for the oral health care workforce sector itself to be able to accommodate and manage the extra referrals or the additional work that may actually be forthcoming from that. This afternoon in the workshop we'll be spending more time going through those 7 functions, and the feedback that you get, that we get today, which we will document as we go this afternoon, can be supplemented by any other feedback that you want to provide through to next Friday for the next draft of the scoping report, but certainly after that it can also be accommodated. So thank you very much.